Recording in progress.
There we have.
There we go.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Roll call, president's comments, review minutes, board of directors meeting, financial matters, anything you want to talk about?
No, that's Barbara does. Everything's in order. All reports I have on Barbara, so I'll be posted in the manager's report.
Okay. I think we're going Thursday to renew a couple CDs, so. With legal issues. We'll have
There'll be, yeah, there's at least one.
second floor renovation, old business.
Same old, same old. As a matter of fact, I talked with Lee Rapasi, gave him the unit numbers that I particularly wanted him to see, and haven't got back to me yet, so I tried to reach him this morning as a last minute, but I'll have information for you for the meeting. Okay.
Electrical repairs.
The electric repairs there are two to be scheduled. One is 1:39, I think it is. The other one is 7:34. The electrician is working with FP&L currently to get the appointments set up.
Okay. Pickleball tennis court project status.
Yeah, we all know those things are on delay.
Yeah. Have we heard back from him about our check?
I talked to them this morning, and she said that he gave her the authorization to cut the check last week, but she didn't do it. And I said, "We'll do it."
So we should have that.
Yeah, we should have it. Yeah.
Tree and wall.
Remember that when we go to pay.
Absolutely.
The wall's down.
Yeah, the wall is down, and we're awaiting John Brown to come back and cut the stump, and he also has another stump to cut behind on the lake behind 125, I think it is. And so those two stumps will be ground hopefully this week, and then the reconstruction. They're going to pour the footer on the wall. They want to do it before Christmas if possible, and then the block man will come in after that. So it's finally under progress. That footer was really down low. Was surprisingly.
Yeah.
They had to bring in a big machine with a kind of a crumpler, jackhammer to break it up. But it's all cleared out of there now.
Any lake drainage issues?
We're still waiting for the contractor to come back. Our boys actually excavated and found the end of the pipe at the lake, and I think we talked about this before, but one of the reasons the lake didn't drain was that the lake bed had grown over the years to cover the drainage that let the lake drain to the other areas. And so we're waiting for them now to come to blow out the parts so we can continue.
Storm cleanup and repairs.
Well, we can finally say that our crew has gone around behind all units and finally finished there at the end of A today up there in Pinehurst. There's still materials to be picked up in various areas that some of the owners have put together. We're going to go back and backtrack and pick up some of that trash and get it out of the way. FEMA has been coming in on a regular basis and saving us money, and seems like they're finally working their way north. They went into Woodlawn and cleaned it and cleaned it and cleaned it, and then they went into Oakview, yep, and then behind Springdale, so they're moving north. It's my understanding that they will be here, FEMA is slated to be here through the end of December. So we'll know exactly when they're pulled out of here. Excuse me. Any debris that we might have left, then we'll have to haul it.
Yeah.
But right now they're taking the vast majority of the materials.
I noticed on Wildewood Springs Boulevard we have a pile, big giant pile. Is that a holding place? Is that somebody dumping their stuff in our area?
Now that's something we dumped there.
Is it?
On the other
it's
side
like
of the road?
Yeah, if you were,
It's
you
square is the only reason I'm saying that.
well,
I'm
we
trying
dumped
to
it very
figure
nicely
out.
neat, and we put it on the other people's property. I'm surprised they haven't called us. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, great. I
Yeah,
just
I
wondered
would be-
what it was.
I wondered who did that. I wondered if it was Spring Lakes or us. Like,
No, that was
the Banyans.
last Friday and Saturday. The banyan tree that went down behind 175. It took them 2 full days to cut it, trim it, and stand it back up. And I was here with it, and I told them to put it on the boulevard, and then I was back there with them, but I didn't realize they put it on the wrong side of the boulevard. So it's our debris, no doubt about it.
Going with that question again, have we decided to use that quotation we had for fixing the banyan trees that was given to us by one of the people who were going to resettle the tree there at the crooked intersection, a few like that?
We're gonna probably do some internal work ourselves on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, we had talked last time at the landscape meeting about getting a quote again to at least the one at the corner of Oakview and Wildewood. I've got a phone call. They're supposed to be calling me today to stop by. They wanted to look at it one more time before they gave us a quote. And that's just for that tree.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's the only one it's not standing up.
It's set tight.
Yeah.
Are they going to do the one in our cluster across the street from you?
Yours is, well, yours is probably not going to be, yeah.
Okay, because there's a pipe that
Yeah.
goes through it.
Yeah, yeah.
The question I have from one of the owners is, we have several places where we got sidewalks starting to do their lift and stuff. I know this is not the time to do it, but are we going to put that into our project list for whenever it can? At least marking those areas, because we had a trip today.
Well, I'll go over there and look, but twice a year I go around with the orange can and mark it.
Yes.
And we do have the contractor, he's working on the wall and everything like that, so I'll go over and take a look at it today.
Made me think about it.
Yeah.
I'll get a piece of chalk and mark them.
No.
We usually grind them if they're
Yeah, a
grindable.
lot of times we
Good,
grind them,
whatever,
yeah,
yeah.
into the house.
Real quick, on the stuff they put on the wrong side of the road, I think it was the city came and took about half of it away that was close to the road.
Oh, really?
So they left half and they took half off, probably because it was a road hazard, I assume?
You
But
mean
they
on the
took
other,
half of it away.
you mean on the wrong side of the boulevard, not our side, the other side?
On this side, the
Our
stuff on
side.
this side.
No, that's FEMA's been taking it.
That was who?
FEMA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Big
FEMA's
ball
been in
red
here,
ones.
on a daily basis, and they're taking it.
Don't let FEMA forget Sherwood.
No, we know where it
I
is.
don't think
but
they're gonna come in.
They're working their way north.
I don't.
How about Palm Tree Drive? It's in the cluster.
Yeah.
2 trees went down, big ones.
Yep.
You cut them up, but all the debris and everything is still laying there.
We all have debris.
Yeah, every cluster, well,
Excuse me, I was asking Tom.
yeah, that is, as he's coming north, that could be the next portion that they're taking. See, they've taken, everything from Woodlawn, they've taken everything from Oakview, they've taken everything from Lakeside, so you should be next.
Because you said they're going north.
Yeah,
I don't want to go too far north.
no, but what happens is that we're not directing them because they're in here, and we're saving money every minute they come in, so we're just kinda letting them do their thing, if you understand. If we
They've
directed
never
it,
come
it'd
in
be out of
before.
there. I mean, if we were hauling and paying for it, everything would be cleaned up by now, but we're letting it go on a slow basis because every load saves us $300 to $500 to $700 that they take.
I just heard on the radio that in Tampa, Hillsborough County, they have until January 11th to get everything cleaned up so that they can get full reimbursement. Do you think the village, or do you think that Bradenton is waiting for that?
Well, this is, it's not city,
Oh, I
it's
know,
not
I
county.
understand that,
Yeah.
but, I mean, could they maybe claim that as part of,
That could very well be.
because I've never seen FEMA in here before.
Never before, but
That's
we've
why
never
we're
had
not
the
saying
debris.
it.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, because the last few storms, we've had to carry our own
Oh,
debris
I
out.
know,
Yeah,
I
they
know.
said they don't
But
come
January
on private
11th is
property.
apparently the deadline
Okay,
to
well,
get full reimbursement. So I'm thinking Bradenton is working on that date and they're sending FEMA everywhere, which would
very
be
well be.
great.
yeah, well, I see the trucks every morning when I come in, they're all over the place.
They're
They're out there
everywhere.
right now.
see them
Yep.
every day. That's the first time I've ever seen them anywhere.
Well, we were considered, we were direct hit, and we're under the Emergency Act. The governor declared this an emergency area, so
Right.
that's the reason they're here.
Good.
We don't want to be this again.
No, but for now, this is great.
Incidentally, for information, the storm clearing debris and cutting has cost us a little bit more than $200,000 at the present time.
Whoa.
Our budget for tree trimming this year was $48,000, and we spent about almost $250,000. You say, where's that come from? Well, that's from the insurance surplus primarily, plus about $50,000 from the reserves. So this was quite an expensive storm.
Thank goodness we have
And it's
money
not
for it.
done.
Thank God, no
We're not
water.
finished yet.
Yeah. Well, I've had residents ask me how much we're gonna be assessed, and I've said, we're not. That's a blessing.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, at
let's
the
not
time,
talk
we were.
about
Yes, yeah.
Speaking of storm damage and our ceilings in the carports and so on, have we decided what we're gonna do there? We've got a couple of options on the list, but
The building committee is in the process of recommending to the board, which we'll be talking about someplace in here. If not, we'll add it to remove the ceiling panels totally. That's their recommendation
For now.
for now.
I mean, we
Uh,
don't, just don't have any
owners-
money to
right.
put anything up yet at this point.
Speaking about that,
Don't wanna raise the dues again.
the insurance company came out and the adjuster, Steve and I spent the better part of an afternoon with him, and he ran around and looked at everything, the gutters, the fences, the carport ceilings, and they came up with a big zero. We're below the deductible. Each carport has a value somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,500, and with a 5% deductible, we're getting absolutely nothing.
Well, what about the quote that we had for building new carports, but it's $7,000 a spot?
Well, that's,
Wouldn't that make them $28,000 for that?
it would be nice, wouldn't it? But
Wrong
that's not
pocket.
up to code.
Wrong pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So the fences are in front of the units are considered a part of the building, and so they're well under the deductible. The carport ceilings, limited damage, quote unquote, same thing, and all the gutters that are down, same thing, part of the building and under the deductible.
Is there any, oh, I'm sorry, Shane.
What would happen if we denied our payment this year?
Well, that would be an interesting situation, because we never seem to get anything. Our buildings are like rocks out there, they're not gonna fly away. It's truly a shame that we cannot even consider self-insurance, because we could, do something of that nature, but law says we have to have it up to full value. So we have to buy it no matter what.
So there's
And
no
I
way
guess,
we can make exceptions, say everything, all buildings except carports, and not insure them at all, for instance.
No, we have to.
You have potential liability.
I understand. Okay, those are a wish list items. You know they're planning ahead. It's like our tennis courts. How in the heck do you get a storm damage policy without the fences?
Fences, yeah, that's just
What's high enough
Just
off the ground, and, unless it's an earthquake,
Well,
you're still
She's
working.
still
on it.
looking at that? Lady, or on the fences?
no.
No, I thought she said she was gonna look into that.
Well, she's gonna go look back at it, but the formal letters have come subsequent. And it's just, as much damage as we have, we'd even hoped for what they call top and trim damage, which the adjuster indicated we might have insurance for cutting the trees down, $200,000, but it turns out no.
I think we should take a look at what we've done here in regards to individual buildings. Maybe we should insure the tennis courts as individual items, not part of the whole package.
Well, we have tennis court insurance, but the fact that unfortunately, that the quote unquote, what we're still working on is the fact that as Steve alluded to, and I'm wrong there, fences, we have fence insurance. The fact that the appraiser didn't say tennis court fence is what's the argument here.
Well, could they tell us what we were insuring? The surface area from wind damage?
That's what it looks like, that's what it looks like.
What was,
But we have fence insurance, now we have fence
We got all these
insurance.
bad spots underneath the courts.
Yeah.
Maybe we gotta talk to him about that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see, as much damage as was experienced, there's nothing to claim. And I guess the good news is, we didn't lose roofs, we didn't lose this, and so that's the other side of the coin.
It's just very stressful to spend almost $1 million for insurance and
Nobody will pay us.
yeah, nobody will, and we'll get nothing. But anyway, that's the way it is, I guess. Employee holiday fund.
Okay, that's going along. We're about halfway to where we were last year with some limited time left. Just for your information, we might want to send out a reminder, Chris.
Yep.
What
Okay.
is the date on that 17th?
Well,
18th.
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 Yeah,
Oh, that is close.
yeah,
That's next week.
yeah. Tempest fuges.
Banner and sign.
Well, the reason this is on there, except for discussion, will you wish to maybe leave it on there or not on there, is the issue of these political flags that came out during the holiday, during the election. Of course, that's only maybe 2 years, every 2 to 4 years comes up, but several of the owners were quite upset with the political nature of flags and banners that were put up. And if you look into our rules, they're not designated, but our rules also say only American flags. So, I mean, we have it in the rules that says only American flags and certain military flags at certain times of the year. So, if everybody feels that that's enough, then but if somebody wants to consider putting the word political, strictly prohibited, we might want to consider doing that, giving it to a committee or something of that nature. Because we still right now have one, I don't know, at 532, it's a big Merry Christmas flag with a big picture of our incoming president on it.
That's not political.
That's not political. No, that's right, according to the putter-upper.
The putter-upper?
Putter-upper says that's Merry Christmas.
He probably sold it on his website.
So I don't know if you want to do anything about that or consider it.
Is there a rules committee anymore? Do we still have that?
Yes.
Well, why don't they talk about that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You could refer it to them.
I think that we should.
Absolutely. I think this has to be taken care of without going back into this process of having to put out the fire. Before the fire begins, it should be done. It's ridiculous we have to deal with this type of thing, but they must be very proud people.
We will put this, we'll leave it on there, and you can refer it to the committee.
At least there were no razor blades this time.
That's true.
John, following the discussion last time, I did draft a
Yep.
little something.
And I have something I could give it to the board, but why don't we give it to the committee if it goes to a committee?
If you want to later,
Yeah, I thought it was well put. I thought you did it well.
Okay, just seems like
Yeah.
another step.
Well,
As of today's rules, that flag shouldn't be up.
it's a Merry Christmas flag, as everybody, his point is that there's Christmas decorations up everywhere allowed the day after Thanksgiving through January 5th or something of that nature. And he say, that's my Christmas flag.
That's disingenuous.
Just
Of course it is.
Well, actually, I really think we should consider sending it to the rules committee. That's what they're doing, right?
Who makes up the rules committee? Is it active?
Well, Claire Dewhurst was in charge of it, and I don't know whether she still wants to be, but we certainly could establish a committee if those who formerly served aren't interested anymore.
What is a rules committee supposed to do?
Well, they
For this
develop
situation.
rules and bring them to the board, or they modify, or they
So they're
suggest
not enforcement.
modifications.
They're not enforcement, they're
No,
writing.
not enforcement. Basically, I'm the enforcement.
Yeah, I was gonna say John's our enforcer.
Do we need to reconstitute a rules committee to consider this? Is the board authorized to act on this or not?
The board certainly can act on it, but you might want to look at it as more than, well, I mean, when you establish a rules committee or you give something to a rules committee, they may look at a lot of things more than just one thing.
And
I
that's
mean, there's
fine.
the committee, the board itself could look at one thing, but you don't want to knee jerk it. You don't want to just put a word in there that comes back to haunt you. You want to be able to look at it and you know.
And that's why I think that a committee, the rules committee, would have more time to concentrate on particular rules that are in there, and are they outdated, or they need to be, I don't know, updated or whatever, tweaked.
This particular
Well, it's
situation,
been
25
about
days it'll be
4
moved.
years since the rules committee got together and went over every rule, and there was massive amendments that time. Maybe it's time to look at it again.
So you gotta find somebody to do that.
Well, let's check with Claire and see if she's,
Yeah.
as the acting
Dick,
one
you
right
were on
now.
it, you've been on the rules committee for quite a while.
No, I was on, but I went off when we established the committee for the property and all
Operations
the,
and-
Oh, okay, well, but you understand how they function and everything else, yeah.
Okay, well, let's check with Claire and see if she's.
All right, I can
not,
call,
then
I'll
we'll,
call Claire.
I'll assign somebody.
I really like those.
Well, the next
that
one
was a
would
real-
be something to go right to the rules.
May I ask
Yeah.
another question? One of the items that we've had is the cluster advisor or something like that. Is that committee in place yet? Or still,
There are some remnants of it.
is there any structure at all to it?
Karen's looking into it, I believe.
What, I'm sorry, I apologize, they were talking to me.
Cookie did
Under the bus.
Look at that.
Keep that candy down there.
Yeah,
Don't even
Cluster
bother with it.
advisory, we're talking about.
Kick the can, but,
talking
oh,
about cluster.
yes. Here's what, actually Jane Spratt and Chris, we're working together. I've got a list. I did not realize, I had somebody at the last meeting, one of a good friend say, hey, by the way, who's our cluster advisor? I said, I don't know. Thinking simple, this is gonna be easy to check into. Looked on the website, the most current one is 2021. I was like, what? And I was like, so, in saying that, I thought, whoop, this is a perfect project for me. Because I can corral all these people and say, so, put it in short, Chris sent out an email to the current advisors, are you interested? Yes or no, whatever. Tiffany and people are really good to reply. He just sent it out about 3 days ago, so we're going to give it another week to make sure, because people, as time permits, with it being a holiday, we want to make sure we give people plenty of time to say yes or no or whatever. Then going forward, I will personally take it on to say, go to clusters and say, or send out, actually Chris is going to send out, the next step is, would you be interested? And texting on the word, keep in mind small, I'm going to come up with a small, this is what you need to do. Basically, I do it automatically as a good neighbor. Most people do. But to give people a guideline, again, centering on the word small, directions to people, and that will take care of that. But it's a work in progress. Any more questions?
I put up this was an old description that we had for all our committees. And it needs to be updated. For example, it talks about the cluster advisors handing out Wildwood Springs directories. Well, we don't have directories. So, and one of the things that I thought a cluster advisor does was to manage the bulletin boards. Does that sound right?
Well, I just take the stuff off that's no longer relevant and throw it in the garbage, but.
Well, I thought that was something the cluster advisors
I
were
think they did.
kind of assigned to do. But
Mostly, we put them, myself or Jeff does the posting. And
yeah, but taking down something like somebody puts something up that's for sale or something like that, it's only supposed to be up for so many weeks.
Yeah.
I do it
But
for
I
my
think
neighborhood.
this description of what a cluster advisor should or shouldn't do probably needs to be updated. So,
And I will take care of that.
And
That will
delivering
be
the
on my
annual
list.
meeting packets, they can't do that by statute anymore, so.
Keeping
Right.
things, I think the key word is keeping things simple that don't get people overwhelmed, realizing it doesn't take that much time to do this. It's my point. You can be a good neighbor, but you don't have to lead everybody by the hand, is my point being.
Okay, establish generator use rules. That'll be another thing for rules committee.
That's another one for the rules committee, sure.
New business. Communication.
All right, there'll be a couple of those that have been sent.
Bonding issues at Cluster O.
Had no rain.
We've had no rain, so.
We had that petition come before the board, and,
Went to the building committee.
went to the building committee, then it had to come to the board. And so what's happening is that Steve has agreed to, in a heavy rainstorm, if he's home,
To go out
he'll
and catch
go out and look and watch it drain.
The garbage cans out there? Catch the rain?
There's a pump that pumps the water, but they're saying that doesn't go down quick enough. And, you know, if it's in the middle of a hurricane, it's not gonna go down. That's Florida, you live here. If you don't like it, go to another state.
I've looked at this thing and there's, you can only do so much. I think our committee and or the board is built around those things to be righted that are wrong, that have some kind of a solution. This solution should have been taken care of by the builder, and that was in 1978. We cannot build this up 4 feet, we can't dig a ditch, we can't do anything there. And
Put a
we've done
drain in
everything
and
we
a
can.
pump and it works.
If the electricity goes off, it's what happens. We'll have to get to it, but it's just one of the things that's there, and it's part of nature. We can't do anything about that now. So
Part of what he's doing is to ascertain the status at the moment.
And we find it is functioning very well, quite frankly.
Termite issues.
This is serious. It's come to pass that there are drywood termites in unit 554 and 555 in such a manner where we're going to have to tent the building, which is not only costly, it's very invasive to the people living there. I've started to get quotes. The first quote came in from our current provider, Turner, at $15,000.
Per unit or per
No, per the building. For the full specifications, full covering, 3-day, you name it. Terminix, I called Terminix, and they want $23,500. So I'm going to get one more bid, but it looks like Turner at $15,000 will be the one that we'll want to accept. We also have potentially the same issue at 154 Pinehurst, where the dry woods are in there and very, very invasive also. What happens in the 500s is that the building, I guess it's going to be 550 to 540 to 550 really, 55 to 59. There it is, Christmas. It's a separate building, and it can be cordoned off. That's not it, is it?
Here's 554, you said?
Yeah, but see, there's a space. That building between 57 and 56. No, I see it. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, that building. There's 10 units involved, or plus up and down, that have to be tended. The people will have to be either they have to be out of there for 3 days. We did the building in Oakview about 5 years ago. We set up rooms for them at the what's behind
Cracker Barrel.
Mm-hmm. And everybody has to do an extreme amount of work in their unit to safeguard any foodstuffs or things like that. But we're trying to delay it until after the Christmas season until we can get it figured out. But it's going to have to happen. Otherwise, just the rafters and everything else could get eaten up, and we don't need that.
So it's 554 through 5.
It's 555 and 554 that have the issue.
Do you have to hit 556, or are you going the other way? 555.
Well, you're gonna have that whole building that you see there is gonna have to be tended.
There's a gap in there, isn't there?
There's a gap someplace. Yeah, that's
Between 58 and 56.
Is there any construction involved in this at all?
no. Right now, it's all in the. It's not like we had the other unit where we had to tear the ceilings out and everything like that. This all seems to be in the cabinetry and everywhere else.
Wow.
My question, John, is since we know that it's here in these buildings, our termite services, are they going the extra step for the other people now? That because once they do get in the buildings, it's sort of like we all sit side by side, even though it's way far away from.
Well,
They're
whatever,
gonna
but
tent the whole
are they-
building.
Yeah, I know, but my question is, since we do have termites in that building, are they going the extra step to protect the rest of us from getting them, doing extra steps? Is that a proper question?
Well, it's a good question, but
Yes, yes.
I don't think there's that process, especially for drywoods. I mean, subterraneans, they can put stakes in the ground and things of that nature, but this is a different type. And so, all we have to do is be wary of seeing any filings or anything that looks similar to wood droppings anywhere, and to try to see it earlier than later, if you understand what I'm saying.
Well, my
When we
point
see
is
it,
in
we
bringing
can
that
treat
up, because I just had a new electrical box put in, and I had termite poop in it, and I put in a work order. And I don't know how long, I don't know, because the box is old, but they put in a new one, but I never did hear anything back, so that's my point in bringing it up.
Okay. Well, the point is, if you're concerned about live termites, I will make sure that we check it out for you.
Thank you.
Okay. You're
Is it
for,
sawdust?
$4.29.
yeah,
Does it look like sawdust?
yep.
I've had it, and I've had it like every 2 years. They spray it, it goes away, and then in a couple years, it moves and it's a little farther down. And they spray the chemical in, and what it does is it foams out, and that's how it gets them, kills them.
That's the topical treatment that we tried, and we did it on this unit and 154, and they seem to be pervasive anyway, so that's the bad news.
And unfortunately, it's season, so wherever we put these people, we're gonna be paying seasonal prices, correct?
Well,
Well, that's why we wanna go to January.
we want to go to even later than that if possible, but it's going to take a while to get everybody in order. And by the time you get it ordered, last time we ordered it, it took 6 weeks for them just to be able to come in and get everything done. So, you know, it may be a while. And we know they're in there munching anyway. So,
The people
That's
that
the sad
live in
part.
these, are they seasonal or are they permanent? Or it's
these
up-
two
jump
people
a
that
line?
up and downstairs live here, but other people, you know,
How did they discover it? Were there cabinets like?
yeah,
coming down the wall?
they found filings on the floor or on the kitchen counter.
Is our inside guy, when they go through, they've gotta be looking for sawdust like that, aren't they?
They do, but yeah, I'm in the process of making sure we get another inspector right now, or pest service technician, because this one, quite frankly, is the worst I've seen. And I've talked to the supervisor, and last week he promised I would never see this person again, but she's here again today. And we're gonna have a little come to Jesus meeting about this.
John,
Yes,
are they supposed to do insides every other month?
every other month.
Well, I can tell you the 6 months I'm gone in the summer, I'll be lucky if I see them in there once or twice. I've got cameras, so I know
Yeah.
when somebody's in
Well,
there.
it's what I need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because we had a situation develop where in Woodlawn, just yesterday, a unit owner came home, hadn't been here in a year and a half due to illness, and probably found conservatively 2 million rat droppings throughout the unit. Turned out that she had a home inspector, but he wasn't going in, and it turned out that our inspectors didn't see it either with termite, and that's, well, I'm extremely upset with them because they didn't report it either. So, I mean, there's no way they could have gone into that unit and not seen what was there. Subsequently, we put 6 traps in there just today, and we caught 3 this last night, so.
Where were they coming in?
Toilet, the water, they came in through the toilet, the water was off.
That's the way they do it.
And they didn't have the toilet secured?
No. Well, they didn't expect to be gone that long, but
I
what can you say?
understand, but
you know?
still, if you're gone, you
But
Well,
when you have
they had somebody
when you
supposedly
were
watching
paying
their
somebody
unit.
to watch it, and they didn't show up. double dose.
Okay. Barbara, you got something?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment with the bug man. They usually leave a sticky note on the counter that they were there. And now I don't know if there's a different person if they forget to do that, but that's been my experience.
Yeah, they have, and they have been doing a very good service until this latest technician has come in, and it's been grief. And like I said, I'm dealing with it right now. If they can't get somebody that's going to do the job that we anticipate, we're going to have to look elsewhere.
The millipedes problem has been resolved. We haven't seen one of those bugs.
Well, see, what I'm hearing on millipedes is it comes from the outside, and they're like, they come in waves and then they're gone. I mean,
I walked in my front bathroom one night and there was just a bunch.
Bit you.
Really?
And then I sprayed them. Never seen anything since. It was just in the one area.
So I also had a millipede problem, and I mixed peppermint oil and water and spritzed it all along the tracks, and I haven't had a millipede since. I mean, it might be something you have to do like every month, but they don't like peppermint.
Anybody have any problems with the ghost ants?
Oh, sure.
everybody does.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we got the tarot for that, don't forget.
Yeah. And the tarot does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave, well, the bug guy,
You can get it here. They got the tarot here.
okay, I caught him outside one day and he gave me these little plastic things that are clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
them. We have
tarot.
it here in the
Okay, you got
office.
him here? All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, well, anytime you need them, come and get them. And I guess Steve has his coyote urine, or skunk urine, that we put out that blocks stuff too.
I wouldn't recommend that for him.
Not indoor use,
Local
so.
production.
That's not an indoor product,
Yeah.
okay.
Speaking of which,
It's helped keep them away from outside.
Yeah.
which Woodlawn unit was the one with the rat?
The very end, what's her?
Joan?
Joan Gamper.
Yeah.
6:00.
She's in a hotel right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Tractor.
Hey, John, with that in mind, we might need to, I don't know if you've done this lately, but the one that's over in Oakview, 761 or 2 or whatever it is, the one that's been vacant for like years, might be worth
Going in
taking,
again? Sure.
walking in there and
No
taking
reason why not?
a look.
I'll let you know when we go.
This might be something for the cluster advisors, to be able to identify somebody that hasn't been there for a long time, so that we could go in and take a look.
That is a good idea.
Good point,
Very
very
good.
good. Yep.
That is good.
We have a situation in our cluster where one of the couples, one of the spouses died recently, and they're from Canada. He's not going to come down this year, so that means the unit's going to be sitting another, year without somebody in it. That's another one of those issues that,
Do they have a watcher?
I don't know. I'm going to try to call him,
Good idea.
see if I can reach him, and just see if I can get into his unit just to walk through and make sure.
If he doesn't, then we should suggest that he hire one of our guys to do it.
Yeah, and let me say this, that the two of our guys that do the majority of the work in here, both Jackie and Jim Sell, were not involved in this non-inspection situation. This was a resident here who has been doing it for a while, but apparently dropped off.
He's been ill.
Call it what you wish.
I know.
Not a real good excuse.
He was doing mine too.
Yeah.
So,
Is he doing yours anymore?
no.
Okay.
All right, tractor
Tractor
issues.
issue.
As we all know, our tractor has been quite,
Fully
I guess we've
appreciated.
used the word fully appreciated, yes.
Depreciated.
Bought it as used in 2003. And so, and lately it blew a seal and dumped some oil on the streets. It jumps in and out of gear and can be dangerous if you're standing near it. I have been actively seeking used tractors and even went to one of the locations bravely to look at one. Right now, there seems to be a dearth of good used tractors. The Grounds Committee has recommended that the board consider purchasing a new one, a Kubota as a matter of fact, for about $10,500. John Deere and Kubota are both the highest rated tractors, and they're both very similar in price. I haven't tried to negotiate any further than going in there and getting their original price and seeing how much our tractor will be traded in for. But I think that we ought to pursue this for the use of our grounds people. And it is a reserve expense. We reserve for tractors and things like that.
Is this a sooner rather than later?
This should be, yeah. It's becoming dangerous.
Yeah.
So the landscape committee's gonna take this up?
The Landscape Committee has made a formal recommendation for the board to purchase, if possible, before the end of the year.
Okay, I think that's something
We'll
we
be
can talk
voting
about
on that
Monday,
Monday?
then, right?
Well, you'll be voting on, I'll get you exact pricing.
Let's do that.
Yep.
I don't want one of our guys to get hurt because that tractor's not,
No,
You just
because
have to turn it off when they get off.
well, yeah,
You
but,
can't leave it in gear or leave it running.
okay, but still.
We got a guy that type.
Everybody's gonna get it.
I'm just curious, are there electric tractors for sale, or is that?
You know, I
anything
haven't
worth looking
looked at it. I
into?
suppose that could be a factor, yeah.
But does the,
It might be, in the
Yeah.
long run, less expensive, maybe not, maybe not.
Wouldn't be less expensive.
yeah,
Are
They're
there
less
such
polluting, that's
things
for
as
sure.
electric tractors?
If it's anything like EV vehicles, it's probably gonna be more expensive, but in the long run, maybe less.
Right.
Yes.
No
Yeah, good
gas.
point, yeah.
They're a lot cheaper to maintain,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah. Thank you, I'll look into it.
Shannon's looking into it right now.
Oh, I thought it
It
was just looking
says,
at
it
lunch menu.
says there are. That would be more appropriate.
Well, I would like to check, if
But,
there are, I would check with Kubota or
Yeah.
John Deere, a reputable company,
Yeah.
sorry.
John Deere makes a product called a Gator, which is pretty appropriate for us, that is battery operated.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
John Deere's prototype electric tractor is a plug-in powered by an electrical cable.
Need to know how long,
Kubota's prototyping an autonomous electric tractor.
Prototype.
yeah, we need to know how long the
Yeah.
charge lasts, because we don't want these
Charging is
guys
an
running
issue.
back. I mean,
Guys would love it if it was in a
Yeah,
half hour.
yeah.
Maybe just-
I understand that, but we wouldn't.
Yeah, I know.
All right, John will check into that. I don't think anything can be done before the end of the year. We'll jump
We'll
on
know. And just as far as manager's report, all the coupons were out and mailed on to the owners. Be aware if you haven't received yours. Again, we did it in-house, saving about $400 from bank charges. So they're not maybe as fancy as the bank stuff is, but
It's certainly adequate.
it certainly works.
I have a question that might be addressed during manager's report. We have somebody new in the office, do we? We
Yes.
have not been,
Okay, with Robin has replaced Roz.
okay.
Okay, and I can do that, yes. Thank you to Cookies, Robin's a friend of Cookies, and she's stepped in and done a very, very good job.
Good. I met her the other day, and she's very nice.
Excellent.
Good sense of humor, too.
She's my angel, yeah.
So we have Mary and Robin that are trading days now, 3 and 2, 2 and 3.
Not really till the first of the year though, right?
We'll go have Mary for the rest of the year after today, because Robin had prior commitments to New York.
All right. Committee reports, we'll have director's comments. Anybody got anything else?
I do. I was made aware, and I don't know if anybody's aware of it, about the pool. Jim was telling me Thursday night, he's seen 4 or 5 guys leaving the pool about 8:30, 9 o'clock. They were bringing in beer, whatever. And then I was made aware by a neighbor that had called to me and said, hey, there was 5 guys at the pool between midnight and 3 a.m. on Friday night. Denise Odell's son went out and talked, because they were getting so loud, went out and talked to them, don't know how they got in, but she gave Denise's son and her gave all the information to Jim Muncie, and he is aware of the situation. Security was called several times. I understand that the security guy that was on duty is the way it happened. It's my understanding. I was told that he had a sick baby at home, and the mother didn't know what to do, so he left. But my question is, I understand him leaving in a situation like that, but why? Because didn't he call the office if he didn't have anybody else to call the office, the security person, and leave a message? Because everybody knows that number in that office, they are on that. Jeff is always listening to that, and somebody would have been there for these unruly people. They were rude, but I understand Denise's son did get a picture of the license plate of these people. Has anybody heard about this?
Yeah, they are, Jim is researching it with the, we can't get the license plate names anymore, but the security can, and they're researching that, number one. And number two, it was an atypical situation, but we always say call our number, always.
I know, that's why I don't understand
Maybe
why
we
they
have to
didn't.
post it again somewhere, because, yes, security, fine, but, you know, our people are here, almost next door. Jeff and Jack are 100% on duty, ready to come in and help.
I've seen it work. I've
Yeah.
seen it work just in the short time I've been here. I've seen it works very well.
There's also 911.
Yeah, there's also.
Yeah, 911, that's right, but, and they'll come in and trespass people
Right.
too.
Sure.
So, but it was not a good situation because the guard left, and there was no communication there, other than the fact we found out afterwards why he wasn't here.
Are we saying the guard didn't lock the pool gate?
No, well, no,
No.
the gates were locked, apparently they jumped the fence.
Oh.
At that hour of the morning, I can't imagine any other thing but 9/11.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's not 11 o'clock. It's 3 in the morning, guys.
Yes.
Right.
Where do we stand on our cameras?
Our camera has now been, the one at the end of the street has been stood up. He's in the process of working on the boxes to insulate them against the quote-unquote elements. Once he brings the boxes back, we'll get back set up with the Spectrum.
Is this a 2-month project or a 2-week?
Well, it was supposed to be done
Done in September.
September, but
Couple of
quote-unquote hurricane, you know, quote-unquote.
They worked the last couple of days.
Yeah.
3 hurricanes, right?
Anything else?
I want to thank Cookie for living up to her name.
And we
Bravo
can start
to
calling
you,
her
my dear.
Candy.
Thank you.
Yes.
We're gonna look into the committee for the carports. You said you'd
Set
like
up
to
a committee.
You're gonna make a committee, an ad hoc committee from the last meeting?
Well, that's good. We have to change the rules first.
I thought we had talked about putting a committee together at the last meeting.
What's the committee gonna do?
We can do
We
some research on
we
it.
have to change the bylaws first before you can do anything, period. To be able to use sell community property.
Right.
So that's the big problem.
I thought we were told that we couldn't do that
Well, we were told by
by our attorney.
our attorney that, you know, you can't do that. We would have to change the bylaws, which would consist of getting the entire community to vote on it. Isn't that right?
The state law prohibits the sale of common ground.
Right.
But, as
Leasing.
the attorney suggested, there could be certain type of leasing structures implied, but that then puts the association in the business of
Leasing.
leasing and things like that. But I mean, you know, a committee could certainly investigate what needs to be done and attempt to get it done.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I think it should stay right with the board, and let the board make the decision. There's too many groups going on, and then it gets confusing, everything's being taken away from the main board. You got this group, you got that group, that group. I just think the board should make a decision on that.
I'm not sure we can. I think we need to have a committee to find out exactly what we're making a decision to do.
Why can't we do that?
Because there's so many other legal elements and
Then it should stay with the board if it's legal.
I understand, but when you have this process of having to go through quite a few different areas to get a building permit, to find the property, is it good, this, that, and the other, those things will take up all of our time, where a committee can go down 1, 2, 3 and specifically go down the line. I don't disagree with you in regards to 55 committees, but I can't imagine us something as complicated as this, not having one specific committee working on it rather than trying to work as a board.
Well, do I understand that if we follow a process like this, we would get into a leasing business? Isn't that what I understand? Something to that effect? I can't imagine us doing that and being responsible.
We would have to change the bylaw.
That's what I mean, even at that, even if that's done, that puts another burden on the association financially and the potential for lawsuits and everything, I would suspect. I just can't see why we would even pursue this any further, is what I'm saying, if in fact we've had advice from council that it's basically illegal. I mean, as difficult as that is, seems like a sensible approach.
What are they trying to achieve?
That's what I mean.
Build more carports.
Say it again?
Build more additional carports.
And
For additional people. We don't really know how many even are out there looking for it at $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. It could be, we don't know yet. It's
I
nice to
got
talk
that.
Yeah.
The end result is they're trying to build more carports.
Yes. But I'm not sure how, where, you know?
I don't see the harm in making a committee to look into options.
Thought they already did.
Yes, I thought that was already solved.
Yeah,
I think Stephen
Yeah,
and
2
John
months ago we
consulted
brought that up.
or consulted the lawyer, but if there's other ways around it and someone has ideas, I wouldn't mind hearing them.
Wasn't it voted on no more carports, we can't get them in, wasn't that brought up? Why is this being brought up again? Opening it back up.
I think we did vote on that.
We did.
We did vote on it.
We did 2 months ago.
I think we. Then it should be a closed subject, no more about the carports.
Yeah, if you have a petition of 10% of the owners, you must follow what they ask you to do. Which would be, in your case, 56 people signing a petition. You had over 100 people who said they were interested.
Yeah.
But of course, we didn't know much at that time.
But then we did investigate
And they would be fully responsible for the cost of building these carports, is that what I understand?
Well, the problem, Dick, is that it's against the law to sell common ground. These things would be sold to somebody and built on common ground. So inherently, it looks like a dead end.
Yeah.
But as some people have said, you never know. You keep massaging something, and the dead end is not unrealistic anymore. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Dennis.
I mean, I would look into it.
I think it's a closed subject, we already voted on it.
We did vote on it.
I don't think we voted on it. I think you guys just recommended
It was
what
solved.
we do.
I think somebody made a motion.
It was solved.
Yeah, we made a motion.
I don't remember a motion. We might want to review
You better look back on your
video
notes.
on that
I'm
one.
gonna look back in the minutes.
Can we
Well,
repeat the motion or
I mean,
amend
Dennis,
that?
you look into it and go get
Yeah.
the petition with 56 people.
I can get 50 people easily.
And then, go from there. I mean, like I said, the first thing would have to be done would be the bylaws would have to be changed with a vote by the entire community, and you'd have to have, what's the percentage?
100%.
100%, and it's just not gonna
That was
happen.
where the mortgage companies came
into play.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
you're not gonna get 100% of mortgage companies.
yeah.
To approve it. That's what it was.
That's
Then
right,
you're
I
gonna
forgot
end up
about
with the next
that.
one. Who wants it in front of their house and who doesn't want it in front of their house?
And I would suggest, there've been several bought and sold here in the last year, I think 3, and one just went for
10 grand.
No, 20.
20,
20
Really?
grand.
20 grand.
10,000 was a few years ago.
I don't know who it was, but
Well, doesn't matter who it was, but they bought it for 20 grand. So your carport has doubled in value lately.
Barbara has some.
Except for the hurricane.
Yeah, no. Barbara?
Yeah, I would think, I mean, if you're gonna do another committee to look into it, but I mean, it says you can't sell common ground, but I would think there's maybe an opportunity to put in a bylaw that says we're gonna build more carports to be incorporated on common ground, and then to be sold to various unit owners, and to be incorporated in, just like the existing carports are.
It can't
I
be
mean-
sold,
again, you need 100% of the vote.
and you can't sell
we're-
it, Barb.
I guess we don't wanna debate all the details now, but, I agree you can't sell it to an outside party, but we're talking about selling it to existing unit owners.
Even then, it's an outside party because it's a common ground. And you own it, and I own it, and maybe we don't want to sell our part of it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
The guy on the end up there.
He froze.
Dennis?
Would you have to change the bylaws if
Yes.
you lease them?
I don't think if you lease them, you have
Just
to change
other
it.
Because
things
I
to
think
look
you're
at, ways to look at.
overcomplicating the leasing part. I mean, you could do that in a spreadsheet. It's,
No, that's a nightmare. But
Well, no, the leasing part,
collecting money,
what they were talking about, didn't interrupt, but
all the money.
what they were talking about was the only way it would be feasible for the association was to say that you've got to pay a 10-year lease in advance.
Sure.
So they could finance the installation of the construction and everything like that. And that's where it gets a little complicated.
and the maintenance.
Yeah. And
And
does somebody want to spend
insurance?
$10,000, let's just say for conversational sake, to have a carport for 10 years? And if there's a number of them, I suppose you could develop it that way, and then who knows? But I mean, no one can buy a carport anymore. We can't build it and buy it. It's just, no one's gonna agree to it.
I understand that.
All 558 aren't gonna agree to that. I mean, we're lucky to get 290 responses for an annual meeting, never mind.
Right.
It's 558 people to say yes.
Well, didn't you have well over 100 people that were interested?
About 104.
What's that, 20?
So there's
That's
people
without-
have interest, there's
well,
no doubt about that. But they also didn't know what the price
Price
might be
was.
at that time. I mean, the question was, did you have interest?
Yeah.
Well, didn't we try to get a contractor to give us some
We
recommendation?
tried to get a contractor.
Nobody would even touch it.
Well, at that time, there was a dearth of, there was,
That was after the
it was when there was supply shortage, they couldn't get
Fort Myers.
stuff.
Yeah.
But we found out now from talking to Aluminum that to build our carports, if we were to knock everything down and use the walls and use the new code posts and new code roofs, it would be about $7,000 a carport space. So if you had 10 spaces, you'd be looking at $70,000.
Plus walls.
Well, the walls are there. They would use the walls.
But new ones.
But new ones would have
that's
the
what I
wall,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
The walls for the
Yeah.
new ones.
And that's quite a bit, that's significantly lower than what we thought they would cost, or what they're selling for as well.
Well, around all this conversation, the point that seems to be focused on, how do we as a board feel about even considering assuming these kinds of liabilities?
And you're right, there's a big
I mean,
liability.
that's where we're headed. And putting the association potentially at risk financially or legally.
Or spending that amount of time and energy working on a project that may or may not pay off in the first
Right.
place.
We have to do some environmental studies. The fire department's got to get in on it.
No.
I don't think in my cluster we might have a hard time
I don't know where
because
you
the
would
fire
put it.
department, ours is so we're
Congested.
marginal
That's
for the
ours.
fire department right now.
That's ours as well.
They couldn't get a hook and ladder in there for those buildings at this point.
Well, they don't need
I
to get
mean,
the hook and
I mean,
ladder.
if they ever had to get to the second floor.
In my cluster, I had at least 6 people say, not in front of my house.
That's the other problem, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to have every single person in that cluster agree to
Well,
putting another carport, and when we put out that survey, we got multiple calls, people saying, not in my car, not in my cluster.
You mean to put it in front of their unit? Because you would only put it in front of units that
no,
want it.
no, no, you'd have to build the whole carport like we do have now. But
Wouldn't be individual.
along the fronts of somebody's condos.
My whole road, 10 people wanted them. It's every single person.
Well, that's great, but
Not on our side of town.
Yeah.
yeah.
Quite a few that, and the ones that would have it right up in front, there's already one there.
Right.
And the ones that don't have them don't want one. So it becomes a major cluster problem. So to speak.
Excuse me. Well put, very well put.
For instance, even in our area, Tom, who's on the corner, wants carports, and he doesn't care. He's got this whole run there, and he said to me, "Let's push for this." You know, so.
It's
Yeah, but Diane down the corner might not want her view blocked going out the front cluster, so she says no, boom, that's shot. It's so many things gotta come together, and it's just not gonna happen.
Do you block the what? The parking lot?
Yeah.
She don't want to see the parking lot.
She could see out of our cluster. It would block her from seeing out towards the boulevard.
Takes away her view.
Yeah. And that's
park-
what we have a lot of people.
I think the main concern is we would have to get 100% of owners to agree to do this. We are never going to do that.
Well, I agree.
Again, we're wasting
And
time
then
on
we're
it.
wasting time and energy
Midwest.
on something
Yeah.
that's
My
not
goodness.
going to happen.
We're wasting time on it. We already voted for that. It's out.
I don't, I don't see where it's gonna go anywhere.
Well, for purposes, can we go back and see if we have voted on it?
Yeah.
And what the vote was?
Yeah.
If that's the case, maybe it's over with then.
Should be over with it.
Doesn't mean you can't bring it back up
No.
again. I mean, that's, doesn't matter
Bring
what
it
you
up this
voted on.
meeting and
Bring it up when we
have
want.
another vote.
Once you get 10%.
Anybody on the prevailing side can bring it up.
Barbara asked that one person at a time speak.
What I said was anybody on the prevailing side of a vote can bring the motion up again. So, I mean, if we voted on it, I don't particularly remember, but I'm not saying we did or didn't. I'm saying, I'm sure if we voted on it, it would have been to kill it because of the attorney's advice. But, so that means anybody could bring it up again for discussion, if and when you wish to do so.
It has to be in the board meeting.
Well, I mean, you could put it on the agenda once and for all for this meeting if you want.
We have enough to do this.
Should we add it to the agenda? And then you either kill it or put a committee together.
I think you should put a committee together.
What would you want the committee to do?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I do more research on it. I just don't talk to one lawyer. I do more research, and I would talk to local congressmen just to find out more about it.
What, the
You
bylaws?
know, I mean, I
Those
do
are our
documentary
bylaws,
films,
not-
and we had
not
to
the
do
state.
everything to do research.
I think
I
you need
just
to
think,
call
I just don't think you've
mortgage
looked into it
companies.
deep enough. That's my personal opinion. You know.
Do you think you could get 100% of the vote?
I don't, that's one thing, but that's, again, you go beyond that. You go beyond to find out, you know, what can be done in a situation like this. And so you get somebody that's creative and knows how to do it, they look at it.
But you can get as creative as you want, but if it takes 100% of our association voting on it, that's your problem. So you're having all of this legwork
that's-
done. Now, wait a
that's the-
second,
that's
wait.
He's questioning
But
that,
you're-
he's questioning whether that's
questioning
true.
that. Whether that's true.
That's what he's questioning, whether that's true.
And you only need the 100% if you're going to sell the space to owners. If we look at other options, there could be other ways to do
Right.
it.
Again, you have to change your bylaws to do that.
If you're leasing, you might not have to,
Well,
but we would have
Mortgage
to,
companies?
if we decide to lease
They don't deal
property, we
with
still gotta
anything.
get 100% of the
Yes,
But you would still have to get the right to build them in certain places.
right.
Yeah.
And
Would you
that's,
chair the committee?
Yeah, I should.
Can I just, if we already voted on it, is all this discussion a moot point?
I don't think we voted on it. I think John and Steve just brought their recommendation and we dropped it.
We gotta bring this to closure. We could go on like
Could
this
that
for an
be-
hour, not
could
a
be
conversation.
constant.
I think what we
Confirmed
need to do is
first,
find out if we actually voted on this.
Right.
If we voted, then the conversation can continue. Otherwise, we're just spinning our wheels.
Agree.
All right, I'll review.
Yeah, because if in fact we voted and there is a decision, then someone has to bring it back to the table, otherwise it doesn't move. Is that correct?
Well, if we voted on it, someone has to bring it back.
That's
If
what I
we
mean.
didn't vote on it, someone would still have to.
Bring it back.
Doesn't really matter if you voted on it.
All right, so.
It really
yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
doesn't
so,
matter.
I mean, we
You can
can
always
put it
bring it
on the
back up.
agenda right now and
let's get-
decide to kill it or not kill it in Monday.
Let's do
Yeah,
that.
that's
Let's
what
do
I
that.
said.
Let's put it to bed,
Decide
one way
on
or the
Monday.
other.
So it's on the agenda to proceed or not proceed with carport construction
Yeah.
for Monday's meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Put a committee,
Go again.
is it to put a committee together?
I might need to take more of these.
I need to take one myself.
And I'll review it in the meantime.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
If the committee hasn't had a chance to find other options and the board doesn't really know what we're turning down or not turning down, you know, like if there's a good option, maybe more people would say yes to it. I just think there shouldn't be any problem in letting somebody look into it and then come back to us with
Tiffany, what are the
ideas.
other options?
Well, that's why we'd want to look into it. I mean, I know that John and Steve looked into some options, but maybe there's more, like he's saying.
Well, let me ask you this. If someone has a sincere interest, as Dennis seems to be, as
Sure.
both Dennis, why can't they just look at it on their own and come and bring thoughts to the board without being a formal committee?
Sure.
Yeah.
You can still research it and come say, I've found this avenue, would you consider it?
Yeah.
I mean, if the board doesn't set up a committee, I mean,
Yeah.
you still could move forward if you have the interest in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need that.
I have no problem with that.
Then I don't think we should have it on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right, if you find something, I'll work with you, if you, to see what's there.
Well, I think the point of a committee is that there's input from various places, not just from the one or two interested parties.
Right.
Well, I think it sets a
So,
strict,
I do get that it shortcuts a lot, but that's exactly maybe not a good idea, that it shortcuts a lot and doesn't allow input for, say, non-board members who maybe want to be on that committee.
So these guys want to do that, let them go get the research done, and if they have enough to bring back, then you can form a committee.
Yeah. I agree.
Let them, it's a labor of love for them, let them go love it.
Okay, I just was getting the impression that it was just gonna be, begin and end with them, and then a proposal brought to the board to vote on. But I agree with you, Mark, if that, I like that idea.
Ask John West about a clubhouse committee.
oh my God. You see my hair?
What hair?
It used to be a little darker over the way. Alright,
I move.
see what you can find out. Go home.
There's a move to go home. That's a different move.
I know.
Well, I'll second that.
Any other comments?
All in favor, stand up.
All right.
Alright.
And meanwhile, I'll research whether we looked at it or not. So that's off the agenda now?
Yeah.
I erased it.
It's off. Tammy
Delete it.
erased
I
it.
erased it.
It's off.
Alright.
Now you can drink.
That's what I was saying. Now it's time for
We should have started that.